Hello, my friends. This is Carolina Mendieta. I'm going to talk to you about what is happening in your subconscious mind and your nervous system when you're going through a spiritual rebirth. Maybe you're feeling like things are changing. Maybe you feel like questioning a lot of what's going on. Maybe you're feeling like you're going through another spiritual awakening, or you feel like lost and you thought you had things together, but all of a sudden things don't feel right. So I created a video with 5 signs that you're going through a spiritual rebirth or another spiritual awakening, and I'm going to put that on the caption below or in the links below so that you can watch it and see if you're actually going through a spiritual rebirth. So when you're going through a spiritual rebirth, a lot of things are happening in your body, in your nervous system, in your perception, in a lot of the things in your cell. You're kind of getting like a cellular upgrade. So you're literally physically changing and everything is shifting. So when you move energy within you, whether through a spiritual ceremony, plant ceremony, or whether through a hypnosis session or anything that involves subconscious work, you're shifting and doing a lot of energetic changes in your inner world that reflect changes in your outer world. A lot of things that happen in your subconscious mind or your nervous system, it is just based on an upgrade. Think of your body or your mind specifically as the operating system, and that maybe needs an upgrade, a new software, so that it can operate better. So you're removing bugs and things that you need to fix, and then you add a new upgrade, a new software, so that it can process things better and can look things better. So this connects with your subconscious and your nervous system and your DNA and everything. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what happens when you're going through a spiritual rebirth. So one thing that happens is that your subconscious is releasing old programs. So I like to call programs past beliefs, memories, or thoughts, or emotional patterns, or habits, or things that were present in your life that are kind of outdated and you need to release. So these could be imprints from your childhood, past life experiences, ancestral conditioning, or just from your past, from things that you observed and things that you may be or may not be aware that they existed or they were a part of you, but they start to come up the surface, and you start to observe them and watch them and see what they are. Sometimes you start to think things that maybe you were thinking before, but those kind of intensify. So I'll give you an example. I was working through money issues, for example. Maybe you're going through money issues. When you are changing beliefs around money and you're kind of putting a new software and upgrading your system around the amount of money that you can make or your perception around money, sometimes what happens is that you start losing money, or you start to vibrate or start to see things from a state of lack. But that doesn't mean that things are not shifting for you or things are not working for you on a subconscious level. It just means that you're getting an upgrade. So those programs start to surface and you start to think them, you start to bring them into your awareness so that they can finally be released. So a lot of the times whenever I would do money work, I think that most of the times that I do money work or I change beliefs around money, I experience a contraction in the amount of money that I receive. And it's crazy because I start to see things, like I start to have payments that I wasn't aware of, or things that I need to pay, or I start to lose money on things, or I start to see a slowdown on my sales. But I understand now that that happens because I'm getting an upgrade. So it kind of creates a contraction before the expansion. And I understand those processes now because it has happened so many times before. So that usually happens with anything that you're going through. It might happen or it might not happen. It all depends on you, on your life. But it tends to happen a lot. It happens with relationships too. It happens with health issues too. That's like the effect of when you're going through a detox and you start seeing like all these acne in your face and you're like, why am I seeing acne if I'm detoxifying? But that's what it happens. It brings all the toxins up your skin so that they can be removed and released, because your skin is one of the largest organs where it detoxes things. So you have to allow the process to go through and trust the process. So it's the same with your subconscious mind. These programs start surfacing and you start to observe them and you're like, why is this happening if I'm doing the inner work? But that's what needs to happen so that you can finally release them and they'll be gone forever. So you're not malfunctioning, you are upgrading. So you might get thoughts around, I don't feel safe, I'm not good enough, or you might have these feelings, but just observe them and don't get attached to them. So that is crucial. Sometimes we get attached to these emotions or these thoughts, and then we fall back again, these loops. This is a great opportunity for you to see the programs, but disassociate yourself from them and you observe that you're not those programs and just let them be there. Just let them, you're just an observer, but then you consciously say, I consciously release you because you're no longer part of who I am or who I'm becoming. Another thing that starts to happen when you're going through a spiritual rebirth is that your brain begins to change and it starts to form new neural connections, new neural pathways in your brain. This is called neuroplasticity. So this is your brain's ability to change based on new thoughts, new beliefs, and new experiences. So whenever we create a new thought or we are taking action on something, or we speak a certain way, or we act a certain way, whenever we do that, neurons connect with each other. So neurons are like little wiggly things in your brain that connect whenever there's a pattern or a behavior that has been done many, many times. Sometimes those neurons get stronger and stronger the more you repeat that habit or that belief or that behavior. So when you are going through a spiritual rebirth, you're weakening those neurons or those neuron connections or new neural pathways, weakening them when you don't give them too much attention. So old patterns like fear, shame, unworthiness, they start to weaken because you're not longer feeding them. So those neural pathways starts to separate. So the neurons, instead of being strong and connected, they start to weaken and those pathways start to separate and start to disconnect because you're no longer feeding them. So when you start to incorporate new habits and new beliefs and new ideas and new experiences and new perceptions and new actions, you start to form new neural pathways. So you want to connect those good neural pathways, the ones that reinforce the new habits or the new self, you start to reinforce them through repetition and through repeating the same things, and you start to strengthen those, and that is what happens in your brain. Your brain starts to shift and it starts to change, and this is called neuroplasticity. These new neural pathways also start to strengthen when you put a lot of focus and emotion to them. So the more you repeat, the more focus you put on them and the more emotional energy you put into them, you start to reinforce these new neural connections that are related to love, to acceptance, to joy, and then the more you reinforce them and the more you repeat on them, they start to become part of you and they start to go and deeply get ingrained in your subconscious mind so that you automatically feel love and automatically feel joy and respond from that new perception or those new beliefs and those new actions automatically. So instead of us responding the old way out of fear or pain or out of, jealousy or whatever, we start to weaken those neural pathways and we start to strengthen the ones that we want to connect with. I love this phrase from Dr. Joe Dispenza that says, nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So that's your focus, and that's what happens when you're going through a spiritual rebirth. You're observing the patterns that you no longer want to associate with, and you are bringing in and strengthening the ones that you do want to connect with, because you know that those new neural pathways are going to help you manifest the life that you want, are going to help you make better choices and make better decisions and make better actions, because you don't have to put so much energy onto them again. Because when you're consciously making choices, it's more hard. It's more like you put a lot more energy. That's why a lot of people that want to start a new habit or go to the gym, at the beginning you have to put so much energy onto them because your bad habits were so ingrained and those neural pathways were so strong that creating new ones are going to take you so much energy. So the moment that you do this inner work and then you start to put less focus on this one and you start to strengthen the good forming habits, then it's going to be a lot easier for you. Your body's not going to use so much energy in order to do the good habits, because it's already going to be automatically ingrained in and strengthened in your subconscious mind. And that's what we want to do. And that's what happens when you're going through a spiritual rebirth or a spiritual awakening or a transition or a transformation in your life. So this brings me to this other point. Your nervous system is moving from survival to expansion. So a lot of people live in chronic stress, in fight or flight mode, or freeze or fawn, and they don't know how to act differently. This is your nervous system's way to respond to feeling safe. And it doesn't recognize the new way of being. So how the nervous system might react, or it could be by exhaustion, because it's putting so much energy to change and to bring this new version that you might feel exhausted. You might feel super tired. That's why you might also feel like you're overthinking things, or you just want to isolate and just be by yourself and have time for yourself. You might also feel like you're going through emotional waves and you don't understand why. Or you might feel physical symptoms. A lot of the times when you have physical illnesses or physical symptoms, it's just representing what's going on your emotional or spiritual body. It might be some changes in there, and they're just manifesting in your physical body. So you might get sick, or you might get some tension around your body, or you might feel like some aches, but it is just part of the process and the upgrade of what you're doing, because you are changing biologically. You're changing in your brain, you're changing in your cells, and you're changing everything in your emotion. We are energetic beings. We are constantly vibrating. So we're changing on an atomic level, so it's not something that is just, oh yeah, whatever. Crucial change. You're literally changing completely. So these things just take time for your body to calibrate and adjust to the new frequency and the new things that you are now emanating as your new self. It's not really a new self. It's like your core essence. You're getting closer to your higher self, which is essentially who you really are. Another thing that is happening when you're going through a spiritual rebirth is your body is releasing trauma through somatic memory and your nervous system. Your body stores traumas and memories in your body tissues, fascia, and nervous system. This is called somatic memory. So when you're going through a shift, all of these memories and this stored trauma start to release. So it can manifest in your body, like I said before, through different things that can be happening to you. So your body is just naturally releasing these stuck energies. So you can feel like crying, your body might be shaking, or you can feel some tension around your body. So it's really important to do somatic work or tension release. There's a lot of therapies and work that you can do, and that's really beneficial for this, because it's coming from this like the foundation. It's coming from center of your subconscious mind, and it starts to release and come up, and it's going outwards through your body. So it's important to release and do all these movements and somatic work with your body so that you can release it and allow for the new version to come through. So according to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, I think it is, he wrote the book The Body Keeps the Score. And there he talks about how your body stores unprocessed emotions until it feels safe for them to be released. So work like movement, creativity, and shaking or breath work can be really, really beneficial for you to release these stored energies. Remember that emotions are energy in motion, so the more we allow them to release the body, the better. Another thing that is happening is that you're collapsing timelines based on the quantum field theory. So in quantum physics, all possibilities exist at the same time. So whenever you make a new choice, like moving from fear to love or unworthiness to worthiness, you're basically accessing a new timeline. So basically, when you're accessing your subconscious mind, you're accessing this quantum field. And we do this through meditation, I love doing Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation because it allows me to access this kind of void, or this no space, no time place, which is the quantum field where all possibilities exist. And we are releasing old timelines, and we're bringing to our life, or collapsing the new timeline that we want. So we turn waves into particles by observing it. And this comes through repetition and constant focusing and putting our emotions into what we want to bring forth. So that is what is really happening on a quantum physics level. You're really bringing in a new timeline and shifting your perception to collapse that new reality to you. And this is what most people call quantum leaps. It's basically moving from your unconscious self to consciously creating the life that you want. Okay, so a spiritual rebirth has all of these components that really allow you to bring forth the life that you want and really access your higher self, which is the most truest, most pure form of yourself. Okay, so when we tap into this self and this new reality, we're really connecting with our dreams, our desires, and manifesting them in a more easier way. And we're really tuning into what we're here to do, which is connecting with our joy and our love. Okay, remembering who we are. And that's why spiritual rebirth or another spiritual awakening process is so crucial to understand, and to understand why you're going through these things on a physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental level, and through all of these bodies, and also through what's going on in your subconscious mind, in your DNA, in your cellular, on a cellular level, because you're constantly changing and shifting all the time. And when you do it in a conscious way, you can be part of the process and actually create the life that you want. So a spiritual rebirth is not something that is just in your head, or you're just feeling emotional. It's really a recalibration of your mind and your body. Your soul is guiding the entire process, and your subconscious updating, and your nervous system is learning to feel safe in the expansion. So don't take these processes for granted. I have some resources in my YouTube and also in my Instagram. And if you want to book a hypnosis session with me, I'll leave the information below. Also, subscribe so that you can receive more videos like this, and share this with someone you think might need it. Thank you for watching this. And if you're going through a spiritual rebirth, I'd love to hear from you. We can connect through Instagram. I'll put that link as well. And let me know how you're feeling, what you're going through, and I can help you in any way that I can. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.